There are 5 mistakes I've made on Amazon FBA that have cost me thousands of dollars. And I'm going to show you how to avoid these mistakes as well as tell you the truth about Amazon FBA, because Amazon FBA is not as easy as people make it out to be. But I do believe if you can avoid these mistakes, you can actually have a lot of success with it. And another thing I'm gonna do in this video is show you my monthly income report, as well as announce the winners to the giveaway. I'm giving away 3 free consulting sessions. And if you wanna enter for that, for this month worth of giveaway, I'll give some details on how to enter later in this video. Now, really quickly, before we start, number 2 and number 5 are probably the most common mistakes that new Amazon sellers make, and these kill entrepreneurs. On the flip side though, mistake number 1 and mistake number 3 are probably the ones that have cost me the most money personally. So make sure to pay attention, because this is a video I wish I could have put in a time capsule and sent back to myself, back in time. It would have saved me over $24,000. So the first mistake that people make is creating loser products. And I absolutely hate when I see this. Now, obviously, I'm a big fan of don't private label. I'm a big fan of creating what I call a passion product. But even if you create a passion product, you can still create a loser product. And I personally did this, and it personally cost me probably about $10,000. It cost me about $10,000. And what I did is I have performance nut butter, right? And it comes in pouches. It's a macadamia coconut cashew blended nut butter, as I'm sure you know. But I put it into jars. And I thought that people would really want this. And that was a mistake. And the reason it was a mistake, well, there's a few reasons. But one of the big reasons it was a mistake is I didn't ask my product launch group, hey, do you want this? I didn't ask my Instagram fans. I didn't ask my email list. I didn't ask anybody if they wanted this. Now, I don't think that this product was necessarily all a bad idea, but it also, the other mistake that I made was the jars themselves. I did glass jars and they leaked and they were really expensive to ship. So I bought about 2,000 units of jars, and of those, about 1,000 ended up going bad. I wasn't able to sell them, which is kind of your worst nightmare as an Amazon seller. And this is part of the truth of selling on Amazon. Not all the products you create are going to be winners, and there's gonna be issues with the manufacturing and all that kind of different things. So I ended up having to throw away 1,000 of these jars of performance nut butter, which cost me personally $5,000. They were worth about $10,000. So let's say that's at least $5,000 lost. So if I were to do this over again, what I would say is make sure to validate your idea. That brings me to mistake number 2, and that's not understanding your numbers. And this is a mistake that a lot of new Amazon sellers make. You need to understand all your different numbers. How many sales are you gonna do? What's your product cost? What's your cash flow look like? And this mistake has cost me at least $3,000, probably more than that realistically, but at least $3,000. And the way that this was a mistake to me was because I ran out of inventory. And when I ran out of inventory, that cost me $3,000 worth of sales. I ran out for a few days worth of inventory. Now, one thing I did is I ran out of inventory in the Amazon FBA warehouse, but I still had some in my warehouse. So what I was able to do was convert my listing to fulfilled by merchant. But even still, I ended up running out of inventory. And part of this was because I didn't properly project what my sales were gonna be. I really had no idea. Now, this is kind of a good problem to have, because my product ended up selling way better than I had anticipated. I thought it was I bought, I think, about 2,500 units of my product, and I thought that was gonna last me 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It ended up selling out in like 2 months. So it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem. Another issue that a lot of new sellers have is not understanding all the little fees. So let me do my monthly income report and break down some of the fees for you. So last month in revenue, I did about $34,000 in revenue, which is good. I'm happy with it. But if you watched my last monthly income report, you know it's about the same as I did last month. Then, of course, there's the Amazon FBA pick and pack fee. There's also just the Amazon FBA, or just an Amazon fee. Just for selling on Amazon's platform, they take about 15%. On top of that, you have to advertise your product. There's Amazon's PPC, and there's gonna be other Amazon fees, and there's probably gonna be some other fees just for you running your business. I have virtual assistants. I have to pay things like, I don't know, just like your LLC, all those different things. I'll estimate that to be about $1,000. So at the end of the day, I'm doing about this much profit, probably around $10,000. I haven't calculated it yet, so I'm gonna put the real number right here. But this is really important to note, because a lot of people they talk about how much revenue they're doing and they think that they're doing really well, but then once they calculate all the fees, they realize they're not making any money. Another little tip for you is you can sell on Shopify. I sell my product on Shopify. I do this much in revenue and this much in profit. So that's a nice little bonus, but as you can see, you can make a lot more money on Amazon. Another issue I've had with not understanding my numbers is cash flow, and I talk about that in other videos. I'll link a video where I go into depth about cash flow. But let's talk about the third mistake that I've made, and this mistake's probably cost me maybe the most money out of any of the mistakes I've made, and that's manufacturing issues. I've probably lost about $12,000 to manufacturing issues. Now, let me give you some examples. Obviously, I talked about one already. I didn't even include this in the $12,000. One of the ones I made as a manufacturing issue was that when I made the jars, they leaked. That wasn't my fault, that was the manufacturer's fault. But guess what? I had to pay for it. Some other issues. So since my product comes in little pouches, one time, my manufacturer sent me the pouches and they didn't have the pull tab, which basically made it so that these pouches were impossible to use. Like, I knew that if I would have put these on the market, I was gonna get a bunch of complaints. So what I ended up doing, and luckily I was able to do this, is I hired some people to just snip the pouches so they were easy to tear. And that cost me an extra few $1,000s because I had to hire these people. Other times, he sent me the pouches. So he sends me the pouches in boxes of like 200. So it's 200 pouches, and then I pay people to pack them into the display boxes. Now, here's something interesting. Sometimes those pouches explode, and I have to pay people to clean all the surrounding pouches, not to mention the fact that I lose money on the pouches that explode. So there's some big lessons that I've learned from all these manufacturing issues. And again, all these issues added up have cost me at least $12,000, maybe more. And a few different things is, one, get a contract. Get a contract with your manufacturer and tell them, all right, I want a contract for 3 production runs. Make it very explicit who's in charge if the product is defective. This isn't something I did for a long time, and that was a mistake. Also, some other things that you can do in that contract is your manufacturer can't just raise your prices, which my manufacturer has done to me. They basically said they were gonna 4x the price of manufacturing, which sucks. And so that's a benefit of having a contract is your manufacturer can't pull things like that on you. In addition to that, one thing that's been a very hard lesson for me to learn is make sure you get everything in writing. So obviously, have a contract, but on top of that, there's gonna be times where there's an issue and you're gonna wanna call your manufacturer and you're gonna discuss something over the phone. What I recommend doing is sending a follow-up email. Now, sometimes it's better just to never make the phone call and just do everything over email. I've had so many issues where I'm dealing with my manufacturer and they say, oh, I never said that, or oh, that's not what I meant, and it's BS. But if you can get it in writing, if you can get it in an email thread, you have your back covered. The fourth mistake I made is just making stupid mistakes, and this has cost me at least $3,000, probably more. For instance, at one point, I ordered $10,000 plus of macadamia nuts, sent it to my manufacturer, and when they got there, my manufacturer said, hey, we can't use these because they were processed in a facility that also processes peanuts, and that facility, my manufacturer, doesn't process peanuts. So they said, we can't use these. Now, luckily, I was able to find a workaround. I was able to save myself, but it still ended up costing me a decent amount of money. Now, really quick, I do want to announce the winners for the free one-on-one consulting giveaway. If you see your name down below, send me an email and you can get your free one-on-one consulting session with me. And if you want to enter to win, I'm going to start doing this every month. If you want to enter to win a free one-on-one consulting giveaway or free one-on-one consulting session, all you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe on this video. I'm going to be giving away 3 of them. One, I'm gonna be giving away at random. So every time you leave a comment on any of my videos over the next month, you'll be entered to win. So the more comments, the more chances you're gonna get to win. The second one I'm gonna give away to is whoever leaves the best comment, whoever adds the most value or the most interesting comment, that's the second one. And then the third one, I wanna give away the third consulting session to whoever adds, whoever's the most engaged, whoever adds the most value to the community as a whole. So to do this, you could just comment on other people's comments on all my different videos. So whoever I see over the next month is really trying to build up this community and really trying to support the other people in the comments down below. I will be giving those free consulting sessions out. So let's get back to the story. So what I ended up doing with the macadamia nuts is I was able to return them back to the person that I bought the macadamia nuts from, which originally they told me they weren't gonna do, but I was able to kind of finagle my way. But it still cost me money because I still had to pay for the shipping from the nut warehouse to the manufacturer and then back from the manufacturer to the nut warehouse. And I've made a lot of mistakes like this where it's just, I overlooked things. Now that mistake wasn't fully my fault because the manufacturer never told me that they don't accept macadamia nuts that were processed in a facility that also processes peanuts. I had no idea about this. But there's been other mistakes, like just silly, dumb mistakes I've made like that. And one thing I want to note, and one thing I think that's really important about this is understand you're gonna make dumb mistakes. Like that's just part of entrepreneurship. That's part of Amazon. That's part of the truth of Amazon is no matter what you do, like you're going to make mistakes. In fact, at Facebook, they have a famous phrase, and I'm gonna paraphrase it, and it's basically work fast and break things. And at Facebook HQ, they have this idea that you should just be doing things and like working fast, and it's okay if you break things along the way. And speed of implementation is one of the number one like success factors. I don't remember exactly where I read this, but it seems like one of the things that makes someone successful is how fast they can go from having an idea to actually implementing it in the real world. The people that fail, and I've done this a lot, are the analysis paralysis people. If you catch yourself constantly in analysis paralysis, like if you're in between decision A and decision B, and you're spending a lot of time trying to figure it out, well, that probably means that there isn't a clear winner between decision A and decision B. So you should do your best and pick one of them. Now you might make a mistake, you might pick the wrong one, but then you know for next time that you should pick the other one. So I just want to make it clear, I've made a lot of these kind of mistakes. In launching, I've been talking a lot about launching the new Cacao Performance Nut Butter, which I've been struggling. I've been struggling trying to launch the new Performance Nut Butter Cacao flavor. And one of the silly mistakes I made is I've probably spent $2,000-$3,000 perfecting the flavor. Now I paid that money to my manufacturer. Realistically, what I should have done is just done it at home. I should have perfected the flavor at home, and then once I had the perfect flavor, tell my manufacturer, hey, this is what the flavor is. But I thought it would be smart to have them use their machines and do all this stuff. It was probably a mistake. I should have just perfected the flavor, and then once the flavor was perfect, have them do it. So I just want to be very clear, you're gonna make dumb mistakes with Amazon, with any kind of entrepreneurship thing you do. Don't kill yourself over this. I have a tendency to really be hard on myself. Like when I make these kind of mistakes, I kick myself and I overanalyze it. Try not to do that. Remember that you're doing your best and just constantly keep moving forward. This last mistake has cost me more money than all the other mistakes I've made on Amazon combined. In fact, if you can avoid this last mistake, I can pretty much guarantee you'll have success on Amazon. This also kind of gets into the whole idea of the truth about Amazon FBA. And so this last mistake is waiting. Waiting to do whatever you're trying to do, waiting to launch your next product, waiting to launch your first product. This is the biggest mistake I see new entrepreneurs making. They get stuck, like I said, in that analysis paralysis. So let me talk about how this has affected me so you can really see concretely why this is so important. And then I'm gonna get into how this ties into the truth about Amazon FBA and whether Amazon FBA is as good of an opportunity as people think it is. So the first thing is, for me personally, I wanted to launch my Performance Nut Butter Cacao about a year ago, but I waited. I was in analysis paralysis mode and I wanted to perfect it. I wanted to do all this stuff. Now, my original Performance Nut Butter flavor does about $120,000 profit per year. So my new cacao flavor I think it's actually gonna do better than my original. I think it's gonna at least do $120,000 profit within a year. So let's do the math really quickly. If I would have launched Performance Nut Butter Cacao a year ago, when I originally had the idea, when I originally really started formulating it, I would have made an extra $120,000. So by not launching it a year ago, I lost $120,000. Now, a lot of times people don't consider that, they don't consider that when they're thinking about how much money they lose. They don't consider about like, oh, if I would have done this a year ago, I would have made an extra $120,000. But that's a huge mistake. That losing of that money is equally as important as if someone took money out of my bank account. Now, I know, that's not necessarily when you clicked on this video, what you probably thought I was gonna talk about, but let's kind of get into the truth of Amazon FBA. Is it as good of an opportunity as people think it is? Well, here's the thing, no. It used to be a better opportunity, and that's just the nature of entrepreneurship. Anytime there is a really good opportunity, it gets saturated, and you're gonna have to adjust like what you do. So private labeling is not a good opportunity. The truth about Amazon FBA is you can still make money private labeling. You can still make money doing the retail arbitrage or the wholesale, all that kind of different stuff. You can make money doing that, but it's not as good of an opportunity as it is. As the game adjusts, you need to adjust with it. This is why I believe so strongly in creating a passion product. But here's the deal. If you wait another 5-6 years, that market's even gonna get saturated. Whatever your idea is, if you have a really brilliant idea on a product to create, but you wait a year or two before you launch it, guess what? Someone else might come up with that idea. They'll be the first one to create that product. They'll be the first one people think about in that niche. And the truth about Amazon FBA is it can be scary. Like it's really terrifying because with Amazon FBA, you have to spend a lot of money to do a production run of your product. Then you send it into Amazon and you're really not sure necessarily how well it's gonna sell. That's part of the reason I like to do a Kickstarter before I sell my product. But it's also, like one of the things I did is I ended up writing, I don't know if you can see this, but I wrote like a little note to myself. Basically on the note, I put it above my computer and just said, be fearless, because you really don't know what's gonna happen. You know in the long run though, if you keep like jumping out and taking whatever opportunity is presented to you, if you keep trying, eventually you're gonna be successful. So one of the things, another piece of advice I have for you is try as you're selling on Amazon, as you're doing anything entrepreneurial, really try to be fearless and know that in the short term, things might not work out, but over the long term, over the course of your life, if you keep trying and you keep going, you're going to succeed. And I think that's really important to understand. And with Vino Cards, we waited. We had the idea, we launched the Kickstarter, and we waited a little while till we started production. And because we waited, we ended up having to pay a lot of extra money to do air shipping, to air ship our products from China to the US so we could get it into Amazon in time for like the Christmas, the holiday season. Now, that cost us probably an extra $750. If we would have waited, or if we wouldn't have waited, if we would have actually done the sea shipping all in one go, we would have not had to pay that extra money in air shipping. We could have just paid the one-time fee for the sea shipping and we would have saved a lot of money. So here's my biggest piece of advice to you. Stop waiting. The truth about Amazon FBA is it's an evolving thing. And the longer you wait, the less likely you're gonna have success with it. Now, if you wanna see all the different startup costs with Amazon, if you wanna see the 6-month income report for Vino Cards and all the numbers, all the details, I do have this video right here. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video so you can be entered into the one-on-one consulting giveaway, and then click on that video and I'll see you in this next video.